Hey everyone, Anne-Marie ADHD here. So today we're going to be talking about hyperfocus and how that relates to ADHD. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this type of content. I talk about ADHD and mental illness every week, as well as I post about some creative projects that I've been working on. My current YouTube schedule, every Monday, I post Mental Health Mondays. This is a video series about mental health, different topics in mental health, could be focusing on particular disorders or things like that. Wednesday or midweek. So hopefully Wednesday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I post random videos of some creative stuff I might be doing during the middle of the week. And then Friday is my ADHD video. Now this week, I had a very busy Friday. I had a lot of work to do, so I was not able to make my video yesterday, so I'm posting it today on Saturday. So my new rule, since I have ADHD, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know it's very hard to stick to a very structured schedule when you have ADHD. But it's important to be consistent for you guys as a content creator so that you all are getting the most from everything on this channel. So Friday or Saturday will be an ADHD video, and this affords me the flexibility, at least, or the freedom to make adjustments to my schedule if I need to. Sometimes I might be having a more chaotic week and I need to do my video on Saturday rather than Friday, so we're going to keep it that way for a little bit and see how that goes. Today we're talking about hyperfocus and how that relates to the ADHD brain. Well, first, before I go over any of that stuff, I want to say, because I don't think I've mentioned this in my other videos yet, but I am not at all any type of expert on any of these subjects. However, I have struggled with mental illness and ADHD, and I understand the struggles. This type of stuff fascinates me and interests me. I am not a doctor, I am not a psychiatrist or a therapist or a professional. I just enjoy talking about this topic, and I want to create a community of people who also have struggled and want to create this larger community where we can discuss and talk about our issues. As you know, in my videos about ADHD and mental health, I usually have a little teeny animation or cartoon type of video for you to watch, just to give you sort of a brief summary of the topic for today. I'm going to let you guys watch this short video on hyperfocus, and then we're going to come back and apply that to my life and then talk about maybe how it affects yours. Have you ever heard of the term hyperfocus? You may have heard a friend or coworker talking about it, or you may have read about it online. Hyperfocus is something that persons with ADHD may experience many times in their life. At its core, hyperfocus is when someone is very intently focused on one activity for a long period of time. Typically, in the case of persons with ADHD, this means that they sort of go into a trance-like state and forget about all of their other tasks and responsibilities for the day. They lose track of time and don't realize they've spent hours working on something. And often it does not register in their brains when others try to communicate with them while they are in this hyper-focus mode. You might be asking yourself, well, if people with ADHD can focus this well, is ADHD really a problem at all? It sounds like they're fine. Psychologist Kathleen Nadeau mentions that a better definition for ADHD would be a dysregulated attention system instead of an inability to focus. Here's the distinction. Most people with ADHD hyperfocus on the things that they enjoy the most, be it hobbies or activities that are stimulating and interesting to them. Chores, daily tasks, and work tasks are often not part of hyperfocus, so it means that all those things get put on the back burner while someone with ADHD is in hyperfocus mode. Hyperfocus can often come on spontaneously too. Let's say, for example, a person with ADHD wakes up feeling super inspired. Instead of doing their morning chores, eating breakfast, and showering, they spend hours creating a beautiful painting. By the time 2 p.m. rolls around, They realize they've spent half their day working on this one project, which can be sometimes very stressful and overwhelming for the individual with ADHD. They may have missed an important meeting, plan, or have many things to do the rest of the day that they will feel rushed to get done now, if they get to them at all. According to Attitude magazine, hyperfocus is thought to result from abnormally low levels of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that is particularly active in the brain's frontal lobes. This dopamine deficiency makes it hard to shift gears to take up boring but necessary tasks. With all that being said, hyperfocus isn't necessarily a bad thing. Many successful artists, professionals, and other adults with ADHD thrive in their careers and lives utilizing hyperfocus to create and do amazing things. The most important thing to know about hyperfocus is that it can be managed and used for good. Many persons have an accountability buddy that will check on them while working on an intense project. Sometimes setting time limits and reminders on your phone also does the trick. It usually takes a few minutes for someone to snap out of hyperfocus, since it is almost like a trance state. Everything else is blocked out during this time. That's why it's important to have many different ways to grab your attention out of hyperfocus throughout the day if you need to complete other tasks of importance as well. Find the solution that works best for you. Probably one of the most fascinating things about hyperfocus is how it impacts adults with ADHD and their career paths. Individuals with ADHD are more likely to enjoy tasks that have immediate gratification or rewards. This is why, for instance, persons with ADHD may be drawn to posting their hobbies and interests on social media or doing something where they will see immediate results after completing a project. This instant gratification is important for individuals with ADHD. Attitude magazine mentions that a job that provides public accountability along with more immediate and enjoyable consequences can be ideal for those with ADHD. Interestingly, 35% of people with ADHD are self-employed by the time they reach their 30s, a figure that is far higher than the norm. That being said, hyperfocus can be a good thing. Persons with ADHD need to learn how to hone in on their best abilities and skills and utilize hyperfocus in a way that will benefit them the most in their own lives. Sometimes this might be difficult to do, but there are options out there, and it doesn't hurt to seek support and help from a professional, friends, and family. If you have ADHD and you experience hyperfocus, you're not alone. You have a gift, and you can learn to use it in ways that will make your life even more fulfilling with time. Hey guys, so hopefully you liked that video and it was very informative and helpful, especially if you do not have ADHD and you didn't have an understanding of what hyperfocus was. Now you know what it is. So to transition sort of to the application part of this video, I'm going to talk about how hyperfocus impacts me specifically, and I would love to hear about all of your instances in the comments. So if you want to tell me about your hyperfocus and things like that in the comments down below after you finish watching this video, I would love to hear about those and read those. But with me for hyperfocus, I have ADHD, but I also have a mood disorder. And so with that, I have mania. And what tends to happen for me, but doesn't happen for everyone, is that my hyperfocus and my mania sort of happen in tandem with one another. And what that means is right before I'm about to have a manic episode, I tend to get super hyper-focused on something. And it doesn't cross over into mania territory until a few days later. And then it gets really intense, because there is kind of a stark difference between hyper-focus and mania, which is something that I will probably go over in another video. But just to give you sort of a general idea, mania is an aspect of bipolar disorder and other mood disorders. And this is when a person feels extremely happy or elated or high. They're very passionate about something, and they can't stop focusing on that thing. Sometimes that can lead to bad behaviors like overspending, shopping sprees, participating in risky behaviors. So it's not all like hyperfocus is, where, you know, an individual is focused on one particular thing. With mania, that might not be the case. You might be obsessing about something. You might have delusions and think things that aren't real. So mania has a lot of other aspects to it that make it very different from hyperfocus. However, if you have ADHD and a mood disorder, then you might have some kind of relation between those two symptoms or not. For my hyperfocus though, typically that's before the mania and not related to the mania. My hyperfocus tends to be on things I'm interested in, just like the video said. So music, art, and creative stuff is really where my ADHD brain wants to go every single day. And I really thought it was cool and interesting that it said that 35% of adults become self-employed by the time they reach their 30s. I'm 34, and I'm kind of at the point where I want to be working for myself because I want to create content. I want to make creative things and inspire other people who may be experiencing some of the same things that I am. So I thought it was really cool to know that this is really common among people with ADHD. And for me, it's like being in a traditional workplace, even like when I was a teacher, it felt restrained. And I like to have the freedom to be able to jump from one project to the next without, you know, it risking my job or something like that, because that tends to happen a lot with ADHD. So, you know, yesterday I was thinking in the car about how I wanted to do a video of showing you guys all of my favorite records that I own, because I have a record collection. But that's not what was on the schedule for this week. And being a content creator, I have the freedom to brainstorm and think of a lot of creative ideas and creative ways to show people what ADHD and mental illness are all about. And that's what I'm really passionate about, is bringing awareness to that. I've found my purpose, and I am in the process of building this community so that I can work for myself. And I would be interested to know if there's any other ADHDers out there in their 30s who are self-employed. What are you doing right now? What's your passion, and why did you choose that career path in your 30s? So going back to hyperfocus for me, it's always art, music related, something creative. So an example, I did this painting. I was in my 20s and I spent a whole day just painting this because I was super hyper-focused and I wanted to create something pretty. Another one that I've done, this one kind of relates to a piece of writing. I wrote a story that has this quote in it, and then I created this art piece to go along with it, which is something that I used to do a lot, especially when I was in my 20s. And so that kind of stuff really attracts me when I am in hyper-focus mode. Especially with painting or doing some kind of art project, I go all in. I forget about eating and showering. I will not stop until the painting or the piece that I'm working on is completely finished. I also do that with writing. So I've had where I went through some manuscripts of mine, stories that I've written, and I took days. I didn't sleep one day and forgot to eat and stuff, and was going through a manuscript and making many different edits to the manuscript, and I did not finish until it was all the way done. And that's the thing, a lot of people with ADHD have trouble finishing things they start. However, when we're hyper focused and it's something we're passionate about, we tend to go, okay, I know I have to do this, I have to do it now, and I have to get it done now or it'll never happen. So I'm just gonna hyper focus and I'm gonna get it all done and it's gonna be great. So that kind of is a mindset that pops into my head a lot. I will say though, sometimes when I am depressed or overwhelmed, I don't want to do the fun things that I like to do. And so sometimes we don't hyper focus on the art or creative things, or we start working on a project and then we never finish it. That certainly does happen. But the instances of hyper focus really sort of are a very intense thing for people with ADHD. I came up with some really cool lesson plans when I was a teacher, like just super creative lesson plans. I thought of this one that went with Romeo and Juliet when I was a teacher. And I was thinking about Harry Potter and how, all the characters are put into these like houses in Harry Potter, and the teachers in Harry Potter like give the houses points for doing good things and take away points if they're not doing what they're supposed to be. And I was having a lot of trouble with discipline in my classroom at the time. So I was like, okay, what if for the whole unit of Romeo and Juliet, I have one part of the class of students that are the Capulets, the House of Capulet, and the other part of the class are the House of Montague. And they have to work together to keep each other in check and make sure that they're all participating in all the activities and doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're going to lose points. And the enticement at the end was that whoever won would get a surprise at the Shakespeare party at the end of the unit. So we would have a Shakespeare party, and then the individuals who actually won, we had a Shakespeare party and we did a couple Shakespeare activities, and then we watched a movie of their choice, that the winning team's choice, and the winning team was allowed to bring soda and food and drinks and eat them, but the other team was not. I know that can sound a little harsh, but it kind of it motivated a lot of the kids. You get the idea. I mean, it's a fabulous classroom management idea. It's very creative, and it just came out of the blue. I wasn't actually actively looking for something. It popped into my head. I was driving home and I was like, oh my God, that's like the best idea ever. So hyperfocus, like I said, can come on very spontaneously, and then we put all of our efforts and our ideas, creative juices into this one project for a long period of time. The downside to hyperfocus, like the video states, is that we tend to put off everything else around us that is important. So if I was working on an art project all week and I was hyper-focused on finishing that art project, wake up, work on the art project, go to bed, maybe eat something at some point, then I would be putting off my daily chores, my bank account, finance comings and goings of the day, work, if I had like a 9-to-5 job that I had to show up to and I didn't show up because I was still working on an art project or a meeting of some sort, doctor's appointments, things like that. Those are the typical things that really, for adults with ADHD, get put off when they are in that hyper-focus mode. So yeah, that was our topic for today. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any suggestions for me for content for my ADHD videos, if there's a question you have about ADHD, or if you have a topic about ADHD that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments down below and I will add it to my list of topics. And I hope you guys all have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. The more subscribers I have, the bigger the community that I can build, and I'm looking for more people. I'm also looking for people to collaborate with and talk to, so I want you involved. I want you to subscribe. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you on Monday for the Mental Health Mondays video. Goodbye, quirky turkeys.